All right, looks like we have some new information when it comes to Splatoon Raiders and what could be happening soon with the release date with this game, in addition to some big AAA game updates and more. But before we continue on, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2. All you have to do to enter is hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and drop a comment below. We are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 once we hit 150,000 subscribers, and it will be random. So the more that you actually comment and interact, the better chance that you have to win. Hit that like button, click that notification bell, and let's go ahead and jump right back into it. Let's start off with Splatoon Raiders. We got a rating by the PEGI, which is the European board, which does suggest that there will be a release date and more information on this game soon. So Nintendo has officially updated the EU eShop listing for Splatoon Raiders, adding a PEGI 7 age rating classification to the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. Now, as spotted by Splatoon superfan over on Twitter and independently verified by multiple different websites at this point using the Wayback Machine, the webpage only displayed a TBD rating as recently as April 1st, confirming that this is a very recent change. Although PEGI has not added the game to their own website yet, Nintendo has indeed added the age rating to theirs, whether intended or not. Unless this is some kind of issue or technical error, that means that we could be receiving more information, or more like we should be receiving more information about Splatoon Raiders very soon, as the age rating only happens when the development is nearing completion. All of the content is in there. The rating board knows exactly what they need to say and what it is in the game. So it does seem like something should be happening soon with this game. Now, Splatoon Raiders is officially a spin-off according to Nintendo. With that first trailer, there was a Nintendo Today announcement, then there was a release on Twitter, and people were wondering, wait a minute, out of nowhere, Nintendo has just announced a brand new game in a super popular franchise. So I think it's finally time at this point that we do get more information on Splatoon Raiders, because we honestly have gotten nothing. Zero on this game since last year when they first made that announcement. With this age rating, the release date seems to be coming up here. We do know from at least just rumors wise, but Nate the Hate, he's pretty solid when it comes to it. He says summer for this game. Summer makes sense when it comes to Splatoon, just the type of atmosphere and game that it is. And I would love for it to be this summer. So I do think that Nintendo will probably have some type of information, maybe at an upcoming Nintendo Direct. We're pretty much already coming up on midway to April. So if Nintendo has a Direct in late May or early June, that's not too far from right now. And at this point where they can lay out all of the middle and second half releases for the Nintendo Switch 2. There's been a lot of talk about when Nintendo's going to have their next Direct. There's been a lot of anger and non-anger and saying let's just wait, or saying no, there's other games to play, and all sorts of opinions from all different sides. But I think that Nintendo's just gearing up and getting ready for the second half. We already have a number of games that are releasing all throughout this year. Pretty much every month there's been a game for Nintendo Switch 1 or Nintendo Switch 2, and of course backwards compatibility, in addition to big third-party games like Resident Evil, Monster Hunter Stories, and of course Pragmata coming up here from Capcom as well. So I do think that the second half of the year is going to be very crucial, especially if all of the big games like Star Fox and Splatoon Raiders and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave and Ocarina of Time remake that's rumored out there, if all those come out, I think it's going to be a good second half of the year and a good Nintendo Direct. We also have the Duskbloods that is coming up from Software. We got to see how that game shapes up. So there's a lot to look forward to. Splatoon Raiders, from what they've shown so far, looks like it's going to be a cool spin-off, but we just need more information when it comes to the game itself and of course the release date of the game. But I'm guessing they've been hard at work, and when they finally do show this game, it's going to be impressive just based off the little bit that we've seen so far and the quality bar that Splatoon is known for, especially when it comes to like their side games or spin-offs. Octo expansion plus the Splatoon 3 DLC, all that stuff was really good. So I'm guessing with an actual separate real spin-off that's a full game in itself, it's going to be better than what we've gotten before from the Splatoon team. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So what do you guys think about the Splatoon Raiders rating here and the release date potentially coming up? With more information, let me know in the comment section below. All right, moving on to the next topic here. We do have an update when it comes to DECAPOLICE, because this game was originally on Nintendo Switch 1, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5, and PC, but now there is an update because on the official website, it went from Nintendo Switch 1 and PlayStation 4 to now Nintendo Switch 2 and just PlayStation 5, in addition to PC via Steam. So they've cut off some of the old platforms and now just taking on more of the newer platforms with the Nintendo Switch 2. PlayStation 5 obviously going on 6 years, so it's not quite new, but Sony's newest platform, I guess, before the PlayStation 6, and of course PC Steam, which is just always around. But the interesting thing here is that yes, the Switch 1 version was dropped with DECAPOLICE, which was interesting because this game was originally revealed for the Nintendo Switch 1 back in 2023, but the development has been taking so long on this that they pretty much just said we're going to have to just get rid of the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch 1 versions, go with the current platforms at this point. And I think that makes sense, especially if you're having development problems. This game has had numerous delays at this point, so if you're having those development problems, you're probably going to want to cut off any of the extra fat that you don't need when it comes to making this game so you can get it finished. Now, they did say that there's going to be more information later, so that just has me thinking this was originally revealed at a Nintendo Direct where they showed off the game. They've been retooling this game quite a bit, even from what they showed back when it comes to Tokyo Game Show, and it was one of the best games of the show, if not winning game of the show, and people got a chance to play it. Are they going to wait for the Nintendo Direct to reveal more information about this? Because I think that this game is tracking, when it comes to, I would say, popularity, or when it comes to what people are looking forward to playing it on, I think it's going to be a lot of Nintendo fans looking forward to this game because of the style and what Level 5 is doing. So are they going to wait for the next Nintendo Direct or a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase or something to reveal this game or re-reveal this game? Because they haven't shown anything really from that first trailer that they have, then another like Level 5 Vision event in 2023 plus Tokyo Game Show. Outside of that, they purposefully did not show any new footage of DECAPOLICE and just said more information to be revealed later. So that makes me think that they have something lined up when it comes to a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase or a big Nintendo Direct to really show this game and it running on the Nintendo Switch 2. Level 5, obviously big fans of the platform. They've pretty much been supporting the Nintendo Switch 2 from the very beginning with Fantasy Life I, which is sold great on the platform, in addition to having Inazuma 11 and even having a physical cartridge for Inazuma 11 and having a physical cartridge for Fantasy Life I. So they've been big supporters of the Nintendo Switch 2. So that makes me think that they want to reveal this game and push this game when it comes to Nintendo fans, and having it at a Nintendo Direct just ultimately gives it way more initial chance to be successful and popularity. Now, obviously, the reviews of the game and all that are going to determine a lot when it comes to how people feel about it and what people buy, but I think that getting that initial push in front of so many passionate fans that are into this style, the animation, and kind of what they're doing, I think that's very important for a game like DECAPOLICE that's probably at this point running up Level 5's bill considering how long it's been in development. So I'm thinking that we're going to see something with DECAPOLICE at a Nintendo Direct. No more Switch 1 version, now Nintendo Switch 2. This is a core game, so I don't really think the install base situation is going to be a problem. I think that's more of an issue for casual games. When it comes to dedicated core games like this where people actually want to see the ambition of the game, I think a lot of people are already going to have a PlayStation 5 or PC that's good enough, or a Nintendo Switch 2 to be able to play it in good quality. So to me, I don't think that really hurts dropping off the Nintendo Switch 1 version and the PlayStation 4 version of this game. So what do you guys think when it comes to DECAPOLICE now on the official website? PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2, PC via Steam. We'll see when the release date is. I did have someone reach out to me and say, OJ, the release date is still 2026 on the website. And yes, it's still 2026 on the website. I just don't know if this is going to be a 2026 game, but maybe they have a surprise for us. Maybe they want to reveal that release date at the Nintendo Direct, and it is going to be sometime this year, in addition to having Professor Layton as well at the end of the year. So that'd be a really good 1-2 punch, because Professor Layton in the New World of Steam looks fantastic, and they added PC in addition to PlayStation 5 to that game as well, plus Switch 1 and Switch 2. So I do think that Level 5 can actually end the year pretty strong if they're able to get DECAPOLICE in 2026 in addition to Professor Layton. But once again, I'm not confident on that 2026 release date, even though it says that on the website. But we will see. So what do you guys think about DECAPOLICE and the move to Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, moving on to the next topic here. We're going to have to discuss what is going on with Borderlands 4 on the Nintendo Switch 2, because apparently there's physical copies, game keycard copies of this game floating around in the wild, despite the last update that we got was it was being put on hold indefinitely. So let's talk about this just for a bit. So this game was originally planned for a release last October. However, it was delayed just a few days before release, just showing the, I would say, incompetence of some of the people in charge over there, because they're delaying a game right before the release of the game. But then back in February, we did hear that development has been paused, which brings us all the way to right now in the current present day. Now, a user on Reddit has shown actual pictures of Borderlands 4's Nintendo Switch 2 game keycard release. While the game is legitimately recognized by the system, there's no data to download yet. That makes sense, as the launch doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. Copies do come with a code for the Gilded Glory pack, so it does seem like this is official. Now, we don't have anything else to go off of, but it does seem somehow this game is still going to come out, because they went as far to print the copy. So what that tells me is that the game is still being worked on. If they actually printed the physical game key cards, that means the game is still being worked on and it's going to come out at some point. It would be crazy if they canceled the game outright, yet somehow produced the physical game key card versions. That just seems crazy to me. There is absolutely a build of Borderlands 4. Even if there's problems, there is a build out there that is, I would say, somewhat playable, or playable in some way when it comes down to it. And it was probably delayed because of how bad it was going to be at the launch. So I do think that eventually they will get this game completed and release the game, because I don't know how this person can get their hands on a physical copy of the game. But if you start looking at some of the evidence here, it makes sense, because once again, it was delayed right before it was supposed to release. So the game was going to release. They have something. They have some type of finished build. There's no way you get all the way to right before it's about to release and then say, okay, nope, never mind, psych, we don't have anything, it's done. You know, that doesn't even make any sense. So I do think that they probably paused things. My guess is that they probably paused things to really kind of work and put full go on fixing the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC versions of the game, because that is their priority. That's where they need to sell the most. Nintendo Switch 2 is more of a side thing when it comes down to that, even though they didn't talk like that when Nintendo invited them to do the whole developer creator interviews and all that, but whatever on that. But I think that the Switch 2 version, obviously not as big of a priority as Xbox and PlayStation because of install base and previous history. So my guess, this is just me speculating, is that they took most of the team, get them to go all hands on deck to work on Borderlands 4, fixing everything and getting all the content ready to go, and DLC and everything they need to do for Xbox and PlayStation. So it was put on pause, and then once they're finished with that, they're going to shift back, or already have been shifting back, to making sure that the Nintendo Switch 2 version is good enough for a release. Now, we did see the Steam Deck version of the game, which launched in a pretty rough state, even though it was Steam Deck verified, so they've got to do better than that. So I think that they're definitely having a little bit of trouble with the game, based off of what's been revealed so far at this point. But I'm not really looking forward to this anymore. Like, if it would have released back when it was supposed to, then maybe say, okay, I'll check it out. But now it becomes something to where I'll just pick it up really late after it finally launches for like 20 bucks or something like that, because they just took way too long and didn't prioritize the Nintendo Switch 2 at all. Although I will say this, I'm not a huge Borderlands fan, so it's not like I was sitting there getting so excited and ready for the release of the game. Used to be once upon a time, but just not anymore. It's not that it's a bad franchise or anything. Borderlands is good, and I think a portable version of Borderlands 4 would be awesome, but that Unreal Engine 5 just does devastating things to systems out there. Now, the gameplay footage we got from MD14 last year showed some promise, as the game was running okay. There were some spots where it seems like it dipped below 30 FPS, and I'm guessing that there was issues outside of just this demo that they had when it comes to the open world and other aspects and running properly. But if they can tune up this footage that we've already seen here and get everything else under control, I think that Borderlands 4 can be a solid release when it finally does does drop on the Nintendo Switch 2. But it's just one of those things that we're going to have to wait and see how it all works out. But what do you guys think about everything that we discussed here, from DECAPOLICE to what's happening with Splatoon Raiders and potential Nintendo Direct or shows that are coming up with different third-party titles? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.